Great, hello everyone and welcome. Thank you for joining me for another special health focus Tai Chi and Qigong class. Now, often I like to just highlight little holistic health practices and things that you can adopt and use for your general health. So remember, Tai Chi is a holistic practice, and that basically means that everything that we do affects everything that we are, and being mindful of our behavior, of our actions, of our choices in whatever it is we're doing, all have an effect on our system. So actually every choice we make can have a very positive effect, and contrarily, sometimes we can make less than productive choices, which can actually cause detrimental effects. So in general, we just want to keep everything in equilibrium. We want to keep our systems moving, and that doesn't just mean doing Tai Chi, just going for walks, dancing, housework, whatever it is, just getting your system moving every day is very useful. Getting enough sleep, 8 hours or around 8 hours every night, absolutely important. It's not something that we can compromise on. Though some folks, maybe they're in a pattern of maybe getting 6 hours or 7 hours, but I would definitely encourage you to, if you are getting less than 8 hours, see if you can stretch it out a little bit, 10 minutes at a time, over the course of a few months, and see if you can get 8 hours, because it can make such a difference. But anyway, as I say, equilibrium is key, just getting things so that everything has a nice rhythm and flow. So today I thought I would mention Desi Ghee. I'm not sure if you've heard of this product, but it is it's an Indian invention as far as I know, though I think a lot of cultures would use ghee. But it is clarified butter. So here we have a jar. Now I've been putting mine in the fridge. I made this at the weekend. And my friend who suggested that I made Desi Ghee said, you don't need to put it in the fridge, it's grand, it'll be fine outside of the fridge. But in my mind, I was thinking butter, fridge. So I've been keeping this in the fridge, and it's fine to keep in the fridge, but actually it's not necessary, because it is basically butter that has been gently cooked to the point that all the impurities of the milk come out of it. So the water content of the milk comes out of it, and therefore it does not go off. It doesn't get moldy. Eventually it goes off, but this should do it 6 months easily and stay nice and fresh. Now, the reason I made this was because I mentioned to an Indian friend of mine that my dad has been experiencing these strange blisters on his skin. And he said, well, Desi Ghee would be very good. Desi Ghee is considered to be a holy or a revered spiritual stuff. But actually, from the point of view of just cooking and medicine, it has been very, very much used on a daily basis for generations, thousands of years in India. And it's often the base of a herbal medicine. You can put it in ghee because, again, the oil is a preservative. It keeps the good stuff fresh. So you can use it as a medicine in itself, you can use it as a foodstuff, and you can use it as the base of other herbal medicines. So I'm going to put a link in the description in this recording, in the YouTube recording, or 1 or 2 links with more information about Desi Ghee. But it is just a brief few things out there. It is considered very, very healthy in so many ways. It's very high in vitamin K, vitamin D, and vitamin A. It's actually very useful for blood pressure and regulating cholesterol. So this can actually lower the bad cholesterol in the body. And I know that sounds weird, thinking that an oil can actually lower cholesterol. But there are other super oils out there, like your olive oil and your avocado, that all have similarly very useful effects. I'm just letting someone else in there. So it's actually very useful for weight loss as well, to have a little bit of ghee each day can can be useful for weight loss. It can be excellent to be used as a moisturiser for the skin and as a hair mask. In fact, you may see my hair looks a bit shiny today because I thought, what the heck, I'm going to try this because I have, should we say, aging hair issues, that my hair is getting a bit dry in my middle age, and it's naturally not quite curly but wavy, so it's thirsty. It needs a lot more oil than it used to, and so I'm trying out the ghee, and it certainly is very buttery because it is butter, but it's lovely. It smells very nice, and it does seem to be very nourishing for my hair as well. So I'm using it as a hair mask today to see how I get on. I may wash it off tomorrow or soon and just see if it has actually left a lasting kind of softness. But it's also very good to reduce blood pressure, especially behind the eyes. So if you have glaucoma, this may be a very useful thing. So as I say, don't take my word for it. I'm going to share a few links with you. In fact, there's one gentleman who's a doctor. He's a Sikh doctor, and he's actually in Temple talking to the congregation about the benefits of Desi Ghee. And he's actually brought several of his clients along to give their testimonials. So people who had diabetes, people who had high blood pressure, all sorts of issues. And after having gone on Desi Ghee for not very long at all, they found that they got really good results. So as I say, I made this so to help with my dad's blistering skin, and that is one of the uses of Desi Ghee, is to help with blisters and all sorts of nasty skin conditions. So yeah, it's easy enough to make actually, and it's very expensive to buy. This jar would probably be talking about £60 or more, whereas it's really maybe 2.5 blocks of butter, and you want grass-fed butter. And you just cook it gently, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and there you have liquid gold. So I'll give you a wee link that you can have a look into that and see if it's something that you would like to do. It tastes really nice, so you can add it to cooking, and it has a very high smoke point, so it's very useful for cooking. It's actually retains more of the good stuff than the likes of olive oil to use in cooking. So lots of interesting things there, things to discover. And because it has sort of brought the impurities of the dairy out, even if you have a dairy intolerance, Desi Ghee should actually work quite well for you. I have dairy intolerance, but actually I've always been okay with butter, because butter is mostly fat. So when you've purified the butter, there's even less of those things, the sort of dairy type things that cause irritable bowel and that kind of thing. So it's very useful if you have an irritable belly. Okay, so let's do some Tai Chi. Up you get, please. Okay, making a bit of a bit of a meal of putting my chair away. Okay, folks, so excuse me, let's take right hand in fist, please, and left hand straight, and pull back the thumb with feet together, hands together, and we salute. Press forwards. Good stuff. Relax down, please, and we're going to begin with a very gentle turn of the waist. Now, do you see how little I'm turning my waist? It is enough to tell your body that you're turning. And even though I'm not doing much in the waist, I'm just letting my arms hang, and that little pivot from center lets the arms swing. So we're going to add a little bit of finesse. So I would like you to think of gently running your palms over the surface of water. And this is a Chen Fa Ke exercise. We think of the Chen family as really explosive, powerhouse houses when it comes to Tai Chi, that everything is very brutal. But actually, Tai Chi is all about creating balance. So the more explosive and powerful your movements become, the more you have to balance that by gentle, kind movements within your body. Good. Very nice. Let's come back to center, and we're going to breathe in and float up, and breathing out, release, relax down. So this is called raising the water, and we want to think of a wave of energy flowing up the back, along the arms to the fingertips, and then by relaxing the center down, the arms are drawn gently down. Very good. And this is the first movement in the 24 form. It's actually the first movement in a lot of the competition Tai Chi forms, the modern forms. And it's a very useful practice because it is actually circulating your energy all the way from center to the extremities and back to center again. So you may feel your core is actually engaging as you do this practice. Very good. Extend and relax down. Good. Now we're going to take a hug bowl. We're very gently turning, again, a slight turn in center, but there must be some movement from center. The right hand comes on top, and can you see I'm level with my shoulder? And the other hand is around level with the hip. So this is our hug ball, and we're going to roll the ball round to hug ball on the other side, and roll the ball round. Keep breathing. And because we're doing warm up, I'd like to introduce a little rise and fall. Now that is atypical of your Yang style and your 24, but you know, I do different styles of Tai Chi, and this is perfectly typical for Master Locke's work. And I love Master Locke's work. It's just a chance to give the legs a little bit of engagement and get the whole body moving as one. Obviously, if you're seated, there's no bend and stretch of the legs, but relax and breathe. Good. Now we're going to make a smaller ball, hip height, and roll the ball round to hip height. Roll the ball round to hip height. And again, I'm going to blend things a little bit because I can. It's my class. And also, again, we're just getting a little bit more of a warm-up out of the practice. So once we're in the 24 form, we don't want to be rising and falling very much at all. It's not within the system. There is some, but it's more measured, more subtle. Good, but for warm up, hopefully you can feel your legs working a little bit, just with that little rotation. Excellent. Okay, so now let's skip ahead in the form with our silk reeling. We're going to have a look at White Crane Opens its wings. So at the moment, our hips and knees are pointing forwards, but we're slightly turned in our waist so that we're above 1 foot. We're sort of facing the diagonal. And the amount of flexibility and mobility within your body will dictate how far you turn. So I don't want you to go to the side. That's way too far. 45 degrees is fine. That's kind of standard. But if you have to go less, that's fine. If it really hurts to turn, then hardly turn at all. Just give it like 10 degrees turn. That's still enough to engage and work from center. So we turn. As we turn to the other corner, the hand on top just goes along for the ride. It's not moving, but the lower hand is going to swish up to block up. Now, if you could see me from the side, you can see that my arm is actually in front of my body. I'm never going out to the side. And if you did that, please do it now, unless you have a sore shoulder. Bring the arm out to the side and you'll feel how uncomfortable and disconnected that feels. So we want to keep the arm forwards. Again, it's around 45 degrees. And once you have done that sweeping action, the other hand, the fingertips, are gently pointing to the elbow of the raised hand. So that's halfway through White Crane opens its wings. Now we release and we relax down. And we finish in the armchair position. So again, if I show you it from the side, the arm is forwards. Can you see how there's a kind of harmony between the two hands? Now one hand is pointing up and the other hand, the fingers are pointing forwards, but there's a kind of harmony. I'm not here, I'm not here. There's a feeling of both arms forwards about the same amount. And you can see an S shape. That's what we're looking for. So let's relax down, keep breathing, relax as we go slowly. And we do the same thing on the other side. So we turn and we swing up. So the arm is in front of us. We can look past the upper arm. And then we untwist and the lower hand sweeps down. So the lower hand is armchair position. And I remember a film recent, well, not that recently, where we were talking about screwing in a light bulb and patting the dog. And I thought, that's perfect, that's White Crane. Good, so we have an S shape, we release, we relax down, hug ball, and we repeat. So we swing up, keep it in front of you, look past the upper hand, and relax down. So you've screwed in the light bulb and patted the dog. Fingers pointing up, top hand palm facing your face, facing in, and the lower hand fingers pointing forwards, palm facing down. Let's repeat, please. Relax down, and we swing up, palm faces in, and sweep down, palm facing down. Release and hug ball. Can you see that this is a series of blocks? We do an upper block protecting the face and a lower block protecting the belly and chest, and relax down. Keep going, please. Breathe in and out, just as is natural. That's more important than following a prescribed way of breathing. Just breathe. Let your breath flow, and you will notice that certain movements will make you want to breathe a certain way. Let the breath be natural and just flow with the movement. The shoulders want to remain relaxed, pretty much inert throughout the practice. The movement is mostly from the elbow down. It's coming from the center. The center is slightly turning, but the expression of the movement, the visible movement, is mostly in the forearms and hands. Good? You feel like you're warming up? Relax down. One more time. Up, down. Relax. Relax into your center. Good. Now we're going to do a little rotation of center and point to the elbow. Then the lower hand comes underneath and up, and the top hand very slowly hinges over. Good. Now sometimes folks, you might lose internet connection and no longer be in the class. If that happens, you're very welcome to join again. I might have to let you in, but don't worry about that. Just come on back in when you can. Good. So do you see the two circles that we're drawing? Again, the shoulders are doing nothing. You're gently turning from right to left, from corner to corner, from your center. And the arms are gently cycling. They're circling. And what you may notice is that one arm has a long way to go, but the other arm has a very short journey. But what we want to do in this practice is to get them starting and finishing together. So this is part of yin-yang balance. A long journey has to go a little quicker, and a short journey has to go a bit slower. Good. Can you keep going for me for a second? I think that's one of the students fell out. Yeah. Keep breathing. Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Gentle movement. Keep breathing. Relax. Good. Now again, because we're warming up, you can do a little bit of rise and fall so that the legs are getting something. You're not just standing. Good. And I must say, I agree with Master Locke when he says that rise and fall is part of Tai Chi. Now with Yang style, let's finish there, take a breath, deep breath in, and relax down. And again, deep breath in, and relax down. One more time, deep breath in, and relax down. Well done, and just give your shoulders a little circle, see how you feel. Yeah. Now, as I say, with Yang style, the styling of this system has been described as clouds floating across the sky, or like the river gently meandering. So the river doesn't go up and down. It might go over rocks maybe, and so there's a gentle smoothing up and over. But in general, it has this kind of two-dimensional stillness. So even though it's moving in one direction, on another plane, it is very still. And so once we get into the form, we're going to let go of this little pulse that we've been doing and just focus on that kind of plateau that we want to generate. And actually, it does require a bit of effort. But I think, as often is the way, actually, if our intent, if our focus is to express a certain quality, our body actually delivers that a lot easier than trying to do lots and lots of calculations with our mind to try to control our body. So I'll show you what I mean by that. In our next exercise, we're going to do a little bit of Tai Chi walking. And if you see from the side now, in the 24 style form, so it's Yang style, we find our level to begin. So we release and relax down to whatever height we want to go to. So you can decide, if you wanted to, you could go down here, but then you would need to stay down at that level throughout your practice. Personally, I don't want to push the boat out so much today, so I'm going to go down to a more high stance. But if you watch, we step and relax the foot, and then as if you're on a bench and you're gliding along the bench, we stay at the same height. And then we glide back and we lift and turn, relax the foot down, glide forwards and stay at that height. So do you see what we're talking about? That there is lots of movement, but on one plane, on the horizontal plane, we're smooth and steady. We're not going up and down. So I'll show you it wrong now so that you can see the difference. Often people get this part right, but then as they bring the foot in, this happens. And then they go down again. So do you see how that breaks the flow? So what we want to do, in fact, we can practice it now together. Can we go into a wider horse stance and release belly, hips, knees? We want to just think of gliding around. Now, if we're in horse stance, we'll be gliding from left to right. Now, if you were to try to calculate what your legs needed to do, it would be very overwhelming. There's just too much going on. But your body is very good at following instructions. So if your instruction is keep my bum level, as if I'm sliding across a bench, actually then the body itself will do the calculations and you can relax and enjoy the experience of gliding across a bench. So we want to stay at one level. Yeah, have we got that? Good. Okay, so now let's try it in bow stance. So we're going to turn out one foot and take the other foot forwards. Doesn't have to be massively forwards, but notice the positioning of the feet. The front foot points forwards. The back foot is allowed to be slightly turned out. And now we're going to do the same thing, but it's as if you have straddled a bench. So think of the bench as stretching out in front of you between your two legs. So we're keeping the bottom at that level and we're gliding forwards and back. Good. Now we want always to think of moving from underneath. So we're using the leg muscles underneath us rather than using our top muscles. Try again. We don't want to exhaust the muscles, though if you're doing pushing hands, you'd be doing this all the way through the class. Good. Okay, and in the next movement, we glide forwards and step in. Excellent. Now let's do it with the other foot. If you have mobility issues, if you find that you're a little bit tentative or scared of falling, then it's very useful to practice with a chair, to have a back of a chair handy. So I can show you what I mean. So we're not sitting in the chair, but rather we're using the chair as I used to do back in the day in ballet. We didn't have a bar, but we'd have chairs and we'd have a stack of chairs so that we could hold on to the backs of the chairs. So let's do the same practice now, but on the other side, and I'm going to show you from the side to show you what I mean. So we take a nice big or comfortable step forwards. In fact, I'll move it a little bit further away. Okay, you could have your hands on your hips or you can use your hands to help you. So we want to maintain an upright posture, an absolute vertical posture, and we're going to glide underneath and back, underneath to go forwards and back. Now I'm not sure if you can see that I'm using the muscles from underneath, but I absolutely am. And I'll show you the difference. If I go with the top of the muscles, it makes it a very different movement. It kind of tips my body forwards. Do you see that more diagonal? And it's putting more weight on the knee. Even if I force my body to be upright, if I'm using the front of my legs, it becomes an imbalanced practice. So every time we move forwards, regardless of how big the stance is, we think of feeding it forwards from underneath. We think of the center as doing that. Yeah? The center guides you from underneath. And what that's doing is it's strengthening and balancing your legs, and effortlessly you will remain upright. And that's the thing that we want. Good. And rest. Well done. Take a breath. Very good. So it's a really nice little exercise to do. You can do it with or without a chair. You can have that chair handy. So because you're not stepping, you're just practicing strengthening the legs and getting the technique, you can maintain a purchase on the chair at all times so that you have that little bit of extra confidence. You're not clinging to the chair as you're trying to do the movement, but it's just there if you need it, and you can take lighter and lighter touch to the point that it's just there, but you're not actually using it, and you can just touch as and when you need it. And I find that after a while, when you're practicing your Tai Chi, all it needs is a little bit of help. If you need help to balance or to Adjust yourself. One finger is enough. It's just that little point of contact with something that is steady can make all the difference in the world. So it doesn't need this. Have confidence in your own abilities because you can do it, but also pay attention to how the body is behaving and give it the amount of support that it needs if it needs it. Good. Okay, so we have practiced now this feeling of feeding forwards from underneath in order to maintain an upright posture and in order to strengthen those legs in a balanced way. Now, when I started doing Tai Chi, I was coming from a ballet background, and I think I must have been doing my ballet a little bit off because I had very large thigh muscles and not very much in the way of hamstrings at all. And for a few years in Tai Chi, that continued, that I had very developed thighs and not very developed hamstrings. But actually, the more that I practiced this coming from underneath, the more my legs became balanced, that they are much stronger in an even way. It's not that one group of muscles are doing all the work and another are just going along for the ride. So we want to promote the strength in the whole leg, not just the tops of your legs. And you will find that that makes it easier to walk, to stand, and to do your Tai Chi correctly. It's going to help with general strength. So we've looked at that exercise. Now let's put in the walking itself. We've been working on the walking. Now I've given you an extra tool to develop and improve that walking. So let's now walk together. And I'm going to walk away from you. I'd like you to go towards the back of your space, please, and we'll all work together. So we start with the head lengthening up and the chin slightly down and back. We take a nice deep breath and we sigh the tension away. Let's do that again. Nice deep breath and sigh. Down through the body, down through the legs, into the feet, into the floor. One more time, deep breath. Good, we're calming down, allowing the body to release, to soften, allowing a feeling of weightedness to sink down into the lower body, into the lower legs. Find all 10 fingers and gently lengthen the fingers down as we keep the top of the head lengthening up and the chin slightly down and back. Good, let's release belly, hips, knees, and we're going to float the hands forwards and up so that they rest about chest height. Filling the right foot, emptying the left, we step, relax the foot down. We do that exercise, we glide forwards from underneath. And as soon as we've gone forwards, we glide into the back foot again. We lift the front toes and turn the whole body just a little bit. Foot down, and again from underneath, we glide forwards, filling the front foot, emptying the back. We square up to bring the foot in and step. Relax the foot down, glide from underneath. Hips are square. Glide into the back foot, lift the toes and turn. Relax your foot down, glide from underneath. And when the front foot is full, back foot is empty, squaring up to bring the foot in. Relax, forwards, back, turn, forwards, and in. Last time. Breathe. And rest. Well done. Take a breath. Good. Now, how did that feel? Did it feel any different after we practiced using the underside to guide forwards and back? Let's do it one more time, and then we'll do some more arm work. Okay, so we lengthen up through the top of the head, the chin slightly down and back. We take a nice deep breath and release, relax, calming down. Let's float the arms gently up. Release belly, hips and knees. Notice I did that in a different order. I don't actually care too much as long as you get ready and feel secure. Let's go with left foot step and forwards and back. Turn forwards and in. Plant the foot. Glide from underneath. Keep breathing. Always look ahead. Look to a steady point in front of you at about eye height and relax down. Very good. So Tai Chi walking is considered to be a health practice in itself. It is a complete practice. It is a Qigong practice, so it's very good for balance, it's very good for strength, it's very good for stamina, endurance, focus, posture, alignment, body awareness. It's got it all. So you don't have to do the form necessarily to get the benefits out of your Tai Chi. If you do these exercises, and lots of these exercises, you will find yourself getting stronger and more confident and healthier as you do your practice and just through your life. Very good. So now, however, let's add a little bit of arm work. So today we haven't yet done separate wild horse's mane, but let's see if we can have a go at that now. So do you remember your hug ball? I'm mirroring, so right hug ball, as we call it, means that your right hand is up and your left hand is underneath, like so. This is right hug ball. This is left hug ball. So it has hopefully quite obvious markers. You're turning to your right hand is up, your left hand is underneath. That's right hug ball. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to squash the ball in and down. So it's not just going down like this. I'm not just bringing my palms together. I'm also squashing it this way by turning my waist a little bit more. So I'm turning a little bit more to what would be your right, which is drawing the arms in as well as bringing them towards each other. And then as I untwist, I'm going to scissor my arms past each other, and it should be relatively natural in feeling. The lower arm comes up and the upper arm comes down. So we're back to this armchair position with the lower arm. Do you see that? Armchair position. So it's like you're sat in an armchair. The other arm is extending at shoulder height. The hand is at shoulder height and the palm is facing up. So we call this yin-yang palms. When one hand is facing one way and the other hand is facing the other way, it's yin-yang palms. They're balancing each other out. Now we gently turn towards your left and simply flip the hands over. So do you see the roundness of the arms? It's not like this. The elbows are dropped, which allows everything to be a lot more ball-shaped. Good. And again, we turn a little bit more to the corner and relax the arms down. And then as we separate, lower arm comes up, upper arm comes down, palms extending forwards, yin-yang palms facing up, facing down. Again, please turn to your right, flip the palms, a little bit more to the right to squash the arms gently in and start to come towards each other. And then as we untwist, the hands skim past. The arms skim past each other. Good, and continue. Hug ball. So an interesting phenomenon happens here. You're not touching, the arms aren't touching each other. But if you listen carefully with your awareness, you will feel the presence. Each arm can feel the presence of the other arm. So we are stimulating the chi. Good. I feel the heart meridian is getting a bit of a workout in this exercise. We turn, hug ball, we squash it down, and we're feeling for the energy. Can you feel it? The warmth, tingling maybe, or just the presence of the other arm? Relax down and extend. Good. Even though I'm extending through curved arms. I'm not doing this. Everything is soft, the elbows are released, relaxed. Hug ball, squash it down, and separate. Good. Turn, a little bit more of a turn to squash it in and down and separate. And again. Now this is called silk reeling. And basically silk reeling breaks down as one simple set of movements in repetition. So any set of movements can become silk reeling. And I think a mistake that people tend to make is they learn the movement, they go, oh right, I've got that. Okay, now can we put it together? Now next. Actually, it really serves to be patient and to do lots and lots of repetitions. Obviously, within your comfortable limit, you want to feel like you're being strengthened rather than weakened. But the more repetitions you do, the more effortless the body will do it. So you don't have to think about the move. It will be so familiar. It will just rattle it off. It's like learning a language. It's not enough to have to think about it. Oh yes, I remember that word. You want to be able to use it as if it was your mother tongue. Good. So this is your homework. Separate wild horse's mane, silk reeling. And it's not an easy one. They tend to throw in difficult stuff right at the beginning of form. And I think it's like a baptism of fire, you know, if you can do this, you can do anything. Good. Hug ball. Make it smaller. Make it bigger. Relax to center. Hug ball. Make it smaller. Make it bigger. Relax to center. Very much we want to coordinate both arms together. They're as important as each other. Relax to center. Good. And relax to center. Well done. Take a breath. We're going to finish the physical aspect of our practice today with putting the two together. So we're going to put separate wild horse's mane silk reeling together with forward stepping legs, and then we get separate wild horse's mane, the whole step. So if you watch me please, I'll show you it from the front and then we'll do it together with back view. So we're going to have a right hug ball, standing on the right, the left foot is empty. And we're going to step forwards, and already that step forwards is rotating me a little bit more to what would be your right. So that's already starting the squash. I collapse it in a little bit, and then I untwist, squaring up my hips, and that action separates the arms. So moving from center drives the arms, then I relax into my center. You see, everything just goes into the center. It's not a leg bend. The legs may bend a little bit, It's more of what we call the drop sit. Sitting into the chair, relaxing into the body. Then we feed the weight back and we turn the whole lot. So the arms haven't rotated, but they're just going with. There could be a slight rotation because we're then feeding the weight forwards and turning the waist, which brings the arms in. I'm going to step, which further turns me and squashes my arms in and starts to go down, and then separate by squaring the hips. Do you see? Shoulder width. They're not here, they're not here. They're very linear forwards. Relax to center. So we go back and we turn, we come forwards, we roll in. As I step, I squash it in a little bit more, relax it down, and square up. And finish with relax to center, the drop sit. Okay, so let's try it together, please. Ready? We start with our feet together. We lengthen up through the top of the head, chin slightly down and back, deep breath, and sigh. Sigh the tension away. We're going to lift the right toes, turn to 45, and release belly, hips, knees as we take our right hug ball. We're going to step slightly wide and forwards, and that's turned us and squashed us a little bit more. We separate by squaring up and relax, drop sit to center. Feed the weight back, turn the whole body, feed the weight forwards and turning to the corner. A little bit more of a turn as you step and separate, drop sit. Back, turn, forwards, in. A little bit more of a turn as you step, squashing it in, separate, squaring up, drop sit. Back, turn, forwards and in, look and step, separate, drop sit. Well done, and rest. Good job. We're going to do that one more time. Now, I find myself telling people, don't look down, because sometimes they'll be like, they're really focusing on the earth. But yes, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, someone said to me that they fell and that they were looking forwards. They weren't looking down. The thing is, yes, you want to look forward. Now, they didn't fall in my class. They fell out in the street with a friend of theirs. The cobbles were uneven and they had some diminished sensation in their feet. So she said the least we, coggly bit, the least we bump could actually be an issue for her. But she was trying to look forwards and not looking down. The thing is, you want to keep your awareness open, both in Tai Chi and when you're out and about. So yes, we don't want to be doing this. We don't want to be staring at the ground, because you can see that that brings your head down. It brings us out of alignment. But even though we're looking forwards, we want to keep our awareness open so that at least with our peripheral vision, we can see the floor. And there is absolutely no shame in glancing at the floor to see if it's stable, how it is. So by all means, especially if you have an issue, glance at the floor, but don't stare at it. If you stare at the floor, you'll knock yourself out of alignment. I used to be dragged up mountains as a child for fresh air and exercise. And we weren't given walking boots. I was in my sandals and I was always very worried about turning my ankles. And I spent the entire holiday staring at the ground in front of me. Never saw the views or, like, look at that, Jane. Oh yes, very nice. And I was exhausted. So there's a balance to be had. You want to see where you're going, but don't stare downwards, okay? Keep your awareness and your peripheral vision open as possible. Now let's try one more time and then we'll do a relaxation. Okay, ready? We lengthen up, And sigh the tension away. Right toes turn out, right hug ball, relax down. Find your level. Now that level we're going to stay at as we flow. We step, a little bit more of a turn, squash and split. Sorry, my phone. And drops it back, turn forwards and in, and drops it. The drop sit is more like you're relaxing in an armchair. Drop sit. Drop sit and rest. Well done. Sorry, I keep my phone on in case students can't get in, and then sometimes someone has a lot to say. Good, well done. Come and sit down. We'll do a little relaxation to finish. Good. Okay, so quite a bit of technique today. Technique is everything. If you want to do Tai Chi, I think watching Tai Chi from afar or without any inner knowledge of the whole thing, you think, oh, isn't that lovely? Very gentle, sweeping, pretty movements, not a care in the world. It's so free. You know, Tai Chi attracts free spirits. But actually, it's a very disciplined practice. It's a very exact practice. We want to embrace it as technically accurately as possible, because that's where all the benefits are. Well, not all the benefits. Yes, there is a freedom of spirit that we want to exhibit, and that's what we see when we see these beautiful practitioners out in the park, and oh, it's lovely, it's yummy, it's so free. But it's like any practice. First you learn the rules, you practice the rules, you get them integrated into your system, and then it's almost like, it's not that they don't apply anymore, but you will have the skills to know when you can break the rules. And that is a further that is a higher level of Tai Chi. At some stage, yes, you can break the rules, but it's knowing what the rules are doing, why you're doing them, what the benefits are, and then there is wiggle room that you can actually still get the benefits and go a little bit outside of it. But throughout, self-expression is very important. We want to just immerse ourselves and just go with the flow and really enjoy it. But it is technical. It's a very technical practice. And hopefully, like me, you're starting to really get the essence of that, the joy of doing it well, technically, because it gives you instant benefits. If your alignment is good, instantly you feel strong. Instantly. It's not like muscle strength that you have to build over weeks and months and years. Actually, with Tai Chi, if your structure is strong, if you're in a structure, you're already strong, because it's like having the foundations of the building are there. You don't need the muscle power behind it, but the muscles will be fed, and so they'll also become strong as well. So please stick with the practice and stick with the technical stuff, because it makes all the difference in the world. If you're not doing it technically well, to the best of your ability, you're not doing Tai Chi, unfortunately. It might be very nice free dance that looks a bit like Tai Chi, but if we learn the techniques, we get deep underlying benefits and that will help in all aspects of life. So let us plant our feet, please, and float up through the top of the head. Bring the chin slightly down and back. If it's comfortable, close your eyes. Let's take a nice deep breath. And again, we want to sigh the tension away. So we're not collapsing the body, but we're letting the tension pour out of the good structure. So again, breathe in, feel to the very top of the head, like a puppet on a string, you're being lengthened up. The chin is slightly down and back. And breathing out, sigh. Sigh the tension away. Can you think of it as water pouring through all of your body, down through the legs and into the floor? One more time, deep breath. And sigh the tension away. Very good. Let's feel down into the feet, please. I want you to feel all four corners of the feet. Breathing into your feet. Feel the soles of your feet against the floor. Now, it's not important how much you feel. Some folks have nerve issues that they can't actually feel, or they can't experience anything as they listen. That's okay. With this exercise, it's not what you feel, but that you are listening. So we listen to the soles of the feet. Listen for the presence of the earth beneath your feet. And notice, can you feel the texture, the temperature, the solidity, the quality of the floor beneath your feet? Whatever you can feel, great. But it's more important that you're listening. Tingjun means to listen, the quality of listening. And you can use all of your senses to listen. So we're listening down into the floor, directly beneath your feet. But I'd like you to send your awareness deeper down. Feel for the foundations of the building beneath you. Or if you're in a second floor, if you're above ground, feel through the building down from your feet. And you might be wondering, how do I do that? I'm not touching it. You're touching the floor, so then you can feel through that touch deeper. It's partly a mental exercise, but if you think of using a knife when you're cutting vegetables, you can feel the texture and the resistance of the vegetables through the knife. You're not touching the vegetable itself, you're feeling through the knife. And we're doing the same thing with our feet now. We're feeling through the floor and feel down into the earth beneath the foundations. Bring your awareness a little bit wider in every direction. So it's as if your mind is sending roots down and out around you. You're feeling into the earth. There is an element of imagination here. Whatever way works for you, we want to feel down into the earth. And that's another nice little homework for you at times when maybe you can't be getting up and moving. If you can sit in a chair, you can feel down into the earth beneath you and all around you. This practice helps us feel more grounded and stable and more connected with the earth. It gives us a feeling of security and confidence when we step, when we walk, even when we sit. So let's now bring the awareness gently back up through the feet, up the legs, and into your center. And let's draw the hands in to cover center and hug your elbows gently in. Let's breathe down into the belly. And this time we're simply feeling the touch of the hands guiding the awareness into our center. And let's feel our energy, is stronger. Well done. Let that feeling stay with you through your day and into your evening. And we'll wiggle fingers, wiggle toes, easing from your stance, little bit of movement. And when you're ready, bring your awareness back to the room, to your environment, and you can slowly, gently open your eyes. Good, you can have a little stretch. And we'll finish there for today. So I hope you enjoyed your practice, folks. I hope you're interested in looking into ghee, though that's not technically a Tai Chi practice, and see how you get on with your various exercises. You're rocking forwards and back from underneath and sitting like a tree. Thank you so much for joining me. We take right hand in fist, left hand straight, and we press forwards. Xue Sang Hao, and I look forward to seeing you next time.